My name is Igor de Andrade. I'm an intern for the Spady Museum for the summer of 2021. Today is June 11th, and I'm here with the executive director of the museum, Charlene Farrington. Hello, Charlene. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Pretty fine. Pretty fine. So what's your position in the museum and what you do?
Yes, I am the executive director of the Spady Cultural Heritage Museum. So I consider myself to be the team leader.
Mhm.
And I report to an executive board of 13 volunteers.
So for people who are watching and who want to get into museum work and want to get into a position that you are right now, like what should they study in college? What degree you believe they should pursue, and which one did you pursue to be where you're at?
There are a lot of different pathways to get to the position that I am in. What I did was I majored in business administration in college, never knowing that I would ever be an executive director of a museum. But I always had business skill and business acumen. And so that is what interested me most in college. So I majored in business administration, and I'm using those skills because running a museum is running a nonprofit organization. And running a nonprofit organization is just like running, is almost not just like, almost like running any other business. It has to be run as a business. It can't be run as a museum. You have to make sound business decisions because there is money involved. And anytime, there's money and people, your business decisions have to be sound. So you have to have some business acumen. Um, so that's how I came by my position. But uh, students who want to study, museum studies, that's also a great way to get into this position. Whatever you do, though, you have to continue your education. You can't get your degree, get your position, and think you're done. You need to be educating yourself constantly, consistently every year.
So what's the pay range of the position you have?
So in Florida, there have been executive directors who make as low as 40,000 a year. I've seen salaries as high as $120,000 a year in our area. And of course, it varies depending on where you are in the world.
Why you think it varies so much from one place to another? Maybe the size
I
of the museum or
the,
something?
the size has something to do with it. The location of the museum has a lot to do with it because there are just certain cities, and I think everybody knows this, there are certain towns in the US where the cost of living is higher than other areas. And so salaries are higher. And then it also depends on the size. Yeah, the size of the organization is an important one because museums come in all shapes and sizes. We happen to be a small house museum. We're a standalone organization. Some museums are associated with universities. Some museums are directly related to city government. So it really just depends on what it is and where it is.
And how much of what you know about running a museum did you learn after joining a museum?
So um, I worked for the museum for several years before I took this position. And in working in those other positions, I got a chance to observe the previous executive directors and learn a lot about running the museum. The business skills I brought with me. So most of what I learned about the actual operation of a museum, I learned once I stepped into the executive director position, and then through my continuing education. Every year, I'm taking courses that
Mhm.
keep me on top of best practices for running an organization such as
Yeah,
ours.
that goes with what you said about keep studying, keep studying, keep.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last question is, why the Spady Museum?
Well, I have a personal connection with the Spady Museum because it was established by my mother. And I watched her set this organization up from nothing. And I really like the fact that this museum's mission is to collect Black history and to share Black history and to save it, preserve it. That's near and dear to my heart. That's a mission that I really love. And if I were not working at the Spady Museum, I would be working at another Black History Museum somewhere in the US, because I think the mission of saving Black history in the US is extremely important. If I were in another country, maybe there would be a different mission that I felt was more important. But in the US, preserving Black history is most important.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. That was the executive director from the Spitting Museum, Charlene Farrington. Thank you so much.
Thank you.